Greetings, everyone. This is Brian Alexander, and this is my latest Trump and Academia Vlog report. If you're new to this series, these videos are where I summarize what the Trump administration has been doing to higher education and how colleges and universities have responded. Here are the latest developments since the last video, as of today, November 28, 2025. I've organized events and items into the usual two categories: federal level actions first, and then academic responses second. There'll be copious links and show notes supporting each story, including a link to the playlist for all episodes in this series. In the meantime, please like, subscribe, and share so that we can get the word out and so I can keep making these videos. Let's start with the federal government and its Department of Education. The administration continues to advocate for its compact with higher education. Most colleges and universities remain silent, but a few have taken positions. University of North Carolina Chapel Hill Chancellor Lee Roberts refused the compact, telling, quote, faculty at a council meeting last week that he believes the compact is clearly an infringement on academic freedom. There are some parts of the compact that we are already doing, and there are some parts of the compact that would be difficult or impossible for us to do, Roberts said at the meeting. There's really no way we can sign the compact as written, and we don't plan to, unquote. In contrast, several campuses have expressed interest in signing: Oakwood University, New College of Florida, Valley Forge Military College, and St. Augustine's University. The University of Texas, Austin, one of the original invitees, has yet to issue a public position on the compact. Its provost, William Embolden, said this in an interview with Chronicle of Higher Education, quote, our university leadership is having constructive behind-the-scenes discussions with the White House. I think we align with the principles of conduct they want. A lot of that is already a combination of Texas state law and university policy. But of course, there's the question of the procedures, how those will be enforced in the compact. That's where we're grateful the White House is open-minded, unquote. The Department of Education also moved to end student debt relief for graduates working in certain fields that it deems to be illegal. What that might mean in practice appeared to align with Trump administration priorities, or according to a statement by Undersecretary of Education Nicholas Kent, who said, quote, the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program was meant to support Americans who dedicate their careers to public service, not to subsidize organizations that violate the law, whether by harboring illegal immigrants or performing prohibited medical procedures that attempt to transition children away from their biological sex, unquote. The Department of Education is also investigating the University of California, Berkeley, for how it handled a recent protest. According to Secretary of Education Linda McMahon, quote, UC Berkeley allowed a protest of a Turning Point USA event on its grounds to turn unruly and violent, jeopardizing the safety of its students and staff. Accordingly, the department is conducting a review of UC Berkeley to ensure that it has the procedures in place to uphold its legal obligation to maintain campus safety and security, unquote. Turning to the Department of Homeland Security, U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, officers detained an Afghan immigrant who is also a Bard College student, Ali Fakirzada. ICE also detained a traveling University of Oklahoma professor of Iranian Studies. Vahid Abendini has an H-1B visa. ICE stated that he had been detained and then released. Elsewhere in the Trump administration, the Department of State apparently determined to exclude nearly 40 colleges and universities from its Diplomacy Lab Academic Research Partnership Program. The rationale, quote, if they openly engage in DEI hiring practices or set DEI objectives for candidate pools, unquote. Targeted institutions include American University, Duke University, George Washington University, Johns Hopkins University, Stanford University, Syracuse University, Yale University, some University of California campuses, and the University of Southern California. The State Department did not disavow the intention revealed by a leaked document. In Congress, some Republicans offered rare disagreements with the White House on education policy, or anything for that matter. 6 GOP members defended potential cuts to programs supporting Hispanic serving institutions, or HSIs. At the state level, Florida's Governor Ron DeSantis urged public universities to not hire people with H-1B visas to work as staff or faculty. How is higher education responding to these actions and policies? Cornell University made a deal with the Trump administration but did not sign the compact. The New York institution will provide the federal government with more data, will pay $60 million, and agree to follow the government's civil rights thinking. In return, the feds ended investigations into the campus and restored grant funding. Duke University is apparently encouraging some instructors to not talk to the media about the institution or related current events, as that campus is under federal pressure. In the association world of higher education, the American Council on Education, or ACE, issued a statement opposing the Trump administration's compact on behalf of its members and 36 other organizations. One example of that statement, quote, "We are deeply concerned that the compact's prescriptions threaten to undermine the very qualities that make our system exceptional. The conditions it outlines run counter to the interests of institutions, students, scholars, and the nation itself. It would impose unprecedented litmus tests on colleges and universities as a condition for receiving ill-defined federal benefits related to funding and grants," unquote. A new nonprofit to support literary work appeared. The Literary Arts Fund aims to give $50 million over the next 5 years. A National Public Radio article argued that this nonprofit appears at least in partial response to Trump cuts to the National Endowments for the Arts and Humanities. Behind the fund is the Mellon Foundation, along with the Ford Foundation, Hawthorne Harden Foundation, Lannan Foundation, John D. and Catherine T. MacArthur Foundation, Poetry Foundation, and an Anonymous Foundation. A kind of mirror image of that effort appears where some arts groups reject federal funding because they don't want to be held to political strictures. A New York Times article cites artists in New Mexico, Colorado, Oregon, and New York who or which turned down grants or refused to apply for them. The National Coalition Against Censorship and the Vera List Center for Art and Politics published a statement for artistic independence, which more than 230 organizations and nearly 900 artists have signed, including these lines, quote, "We will remain true to our democratic responsibility to act as guardians of artistic freedom and independent thought. We affirm the independence of our programming and service to our mission and commit to resisting external pressures," unquote. Legal actions against various aspects of the Trump administration also continue. A San Francisco federal district court ruled the government cannot coerce universities to alter research on First Amendment grounds. Judge Rita F. Lynn also prohibited the federal government from exacting payments from academic institutions. If I can read from the introduction to her 70-page ruling, quote, "Plaintiffs show the administration and its executive agencies are engaged in a concerted campaign to purge woke, left, and socialist viewpoints from our country's leading universities. Agency officials, as well as the president and vice president, have repeatedly and publicly announced a playbook of initiating civil rights investigations of preeminent universities to justify cutting off federal funding, with the goal of bringing universities to their knees and forcing them to change their ideological tune. Universities are then presented with agreements to restore federal funding, under which they must change what they teach, restrict student anonymity and protests, and endorse the administration's views on gender, among other things," unquote. On the student side of things, the Trump administration's actions against American institutions and international academics in particular seem to have depressed international enrollment. Now, I've tracked several studies this fall whose results vary, but their aggregate direction is downwards. In one, new international numbers dipped down 6% for undergraduates and plummeted by 19% for graduate students. I'll follow this story up in my blog. In these videos, I've always looked for digital projects resisting the Trump administration. One such appeared in October, when nonprofit group Climate Central rebuilt a database tracking global warming damages, which cost more than $1 billion. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, or NOAA, had run it for years, but the second Trump administration suspended its operation. So the project's leader, Adam Smith, resigned. Then Climate Central hired him to recreate it under their banner, where it now stands as of this recording. The struggle between the Trump administration and the American Academy continues to have international echoes. Another country has launched an effort to recruit academics in the United States. India's Ministry of Science and Technology is developing an initiative to draw American researchers to that country, either temporarily or permanently. To summarize, the Trump administration is continuing to go after higher education through multiple government offices and in many ways, from funding cuts to deportations and interfering in university autonomy. Academics are feeling impacts across the nation and elsewhere in the world. Members of the American academic community are reacting in public, from issuing statements and holding demonstrations to filing lawsuits. Legal action is blocking some Trump efforts, which is a bright spot. I hope this video summary has been of use to you. Please share your thoughts, additions, and other reactions in the comment box below. If you don't feel you can comment publicly, please reach out to me directly through the contact link at the end of today's show notes. Given the pace of events, I'll try to post these videos more frequently. This is a rough, dark time for those of us in higher education. It seems likely to get worse. I hope we can help each other out and fight. Please take care, everyone.